All right, guys, so today we're going to move on to painting the frame now that the frame is all wrapped up. If you haven't checked out part one, that video is up on my channel. That is a full video of this frame build. So what we're going to do next here is paint the fenders. That's pretty much all I have left here on top. I already painted the actual frame here itself. I painted that with a paint called Steel It. I wanted to do that way there's no bare metal on the, even though I'm going to be covering the top of the camper here with starting to build the body, I don't want any raw steel exposed anywhere at all to, obviously that'd be a spot for rust to start. So I wanted to eliminate that. But yeah, so we'll do, get priming on these fenders. I have no paint on these yet. I'm going to go ahead and start priming those, and then the whole top will have a coat of paint on it. And then once we get those done, I'll flip it over, and the whole bottom needs to be primed. So we'll go ahead and prime the bottom. And then I will, once it's all primed, get into the actual finish coat that I will put on there. Yeah, we got the fire hopefully heating the garage up here sooner than later. It's currently at a little over 50 degrees right now, but I'd say within the next hour or so it'll be cooking pretty good in here, so it'll be plenty warm enough to paint. So yeah, I'm going to get this all disassembled. I'm going to tape off this top portion because that's already painted. I don't want any more overspray on that. And then we will get into painting. Okay, so here's our kit that we're going to roll with. It's a Raptor liner. It's pretty much just a bed liner, but it's obviously supposed to be super tough, so that's what we want. It comes with the spray gun, which I have somewhere. It's already hooked up to the compressor here. And then it comes with 4 bottles, and then your hardener. And it calls for 8 ounces of hardener for 1 bottle of coating. And you shake that, and then this coating here, this bottle screws right onto the gun. So hopefully this works as easy as it's supposed to, and we'll see how it turns out. guys, so now I'm going to get into the wiring portion of the build here. So I just kind of want to run through what we got here. So I have some marker lights that I want to put a couple around the outside of the trailer just for additional visibility of the size of the trailer when I'm backing it up and whatnot. I have some brake lights that I'll run along the back side of the trailer there. These are also turn signals as well. We have some reverse lights that I'll run right beside those brake lights. And I have some rock lights as well. I figure while I'm doing all this wiring, even if I don't really ever use them, turn them on every once in a while, I might as well just throw those in there. And then we have a junction box here that runs into a 7-pin hookup here. So this makes things pretty simple, really. Gives you kind of a wiring diagram of what to run where. Color coded here, and it'll be pretty simple, really. Really, the most difficult part will be running wire all the way through the inside of the trailer. I'm going to try to hide majority of the wiring and feed it through the trailer, so that'll take some time, but I'm going to do a little bit of layout here, get some holes drilled, and we'll get into it here. Alright guys, so I wanted to test my lights, my wiring on all my lights here before I start routing them through the trailer, just so I know what's what. Majority of these cheaper lights that you buy off Amazon don't really come with wiring diagrams and whatnot. So I got them hooked up here, as you can see, just to my lawnmower battery. And these are my reverse lights here. And normally ground would be black, but this one is swapped. So white is the ground on this one, and I'll just obviously touch it right here to the battery, and we got power to that. So now we know what's what for that. Okay, so as I said, the brake light is a turn signal as well, and a running light. So the white is the ground on this one, and the black, I believe, is the running light, because I think that's a little bit dimmer than what the red wire produces here. Yeah, so the red wire is a little bit brighter, so that'll be the turn signals and the brake light. So yeah, now that we got that figured out, that'll give me a better idea of what to expect with the wiring before we kind of start feeding it through the trailer. So we'll go ahead and get the holes laid out and go from there. Okay guys, so I figured I'd show you kind of what I have set up here just as a test run before I run all my wires through the frame here. So I got my reverse lights mounted in the center here, and then my brake and turn signals mounted on the outside. And I have both of those grounded off on the rear here. I'm going to do a little bit more heat shrink and protection over top all these wires so there's no bare wires, but just for now, that's kind of what I have set up. So I have the red wire, which, as we discussed before, is the brake and turn signal on these lights. I have that hooked up to a temporary wire here to test it. So I have that running all the way through up into here. And I actually have the junction box mounted on the back of my lawnmower here, and the cable ran out to my truck. My truck's parked right on the other side of the garage door here. So I have that all set up. And I just wanted to make sure that I was going to wire this properly before I started feeding all my wires. So I have the white wire in the junction box, which is ground. I have that grounded to the trailer right here on the tongue. And then that wire that you saw that was hooked up to my taillight back there is ran to the red terminal, which is turn signal / brake light. So that's pretty simple, really. And to test it, I have my remote here in my hand, and if I hit the unlock button, it should illuminate. So there it is. Perfect. So we know that's how that should be wired. We'll drill holes just like I did back here in the center, because this tube runs all the way through the center here. So I'll drill 2 more holes up front there. That'll be my exit point to where I'll hook up to the junction box, and that way I can feed all my wires back here, and they'll be fully contained within that square tube in the frame. Yeah, we got everything wired up. I have it hooked up to the truck there, so we'll see, make sure everything works. So if I hit the unlock button there, the running lights flashed, the reverse lights come on, and all my dot lights here come on as well. So successfully wired the trailer, and that's pretty much everything there is to it. Now we can move on to the wrapping up the suspension and getting the wheels mounted back on. So I have the square tubing that's going through the center here. I got these bolts in here, so that ties that all together. I got those in on both sides, and now I have to set the camber and check the alignment. All right, so I have the trailer sitting perfectly level where it's at right now, and I have this angle finder here, and I have it zeroed out at the top here on the trailer. So what I'll do is hold it here against the hub, and we'll be able to see how out of square it is with the top of the trailer here. So if I'm zeroed out up top there, 1.5 degrees cambered out this way. So that way when the trailer comes down with the extra weight on it, it'll come this way. All right, so that gets us to 1/2 degree out of square. I'm thinking that's probably a good point. That way, you got to think once the wheel gets on here and all the excess weight gets on top of the trailer here, that will push the camber in the opposite direction. So that should, I think that's a pretty good number. We'll stick with that. So we'll go ahead and get these torqued up, and then we'll do the same to the other side. So I got the suspension all squared up now. I'll kind of just run through you what I did here. There's probably a better way to do this, but I just used a 2-foot level and clamped it to the hub. That's all I could really find that would fit on the hub here. And then on that side, I used a piece of 3/4 inch square tubing. So I got those clamped on the hub on both sides. And what I did was, what the instructions for this suspension kind of calls for is your measurement from the face of your hub to the inside rail here of your trailer should be equal from here and on this side as well. So I went ahead and took my combo square here and squared it up on the level, and then just pulled my tape measure from the inside of the trailer, or the outside of the trailer here, to the face of the level there. And then of course did the same thing on this side as well, kind of just like that. And trailer's called to be towed in a 1/16. So those are the measurements I ended up getting. So I am a 1/16 less in the front here, because this is the front of my trailer. So that way when I put the wheels on, they'll be towed in just a 1/16. And of course I did the same thing on this side. Alright guys, so that's gonna about wrap it up for part 2 of the build series here on the camper. As you saw, I got all the wiring done, got everything coated here real nice, all clamped up. I got the tail lights done, I got the reverse lights done, marker lights on all 4 corners. I got some underglow wired in, got the suspension fully aligned. I just took it for a little test run. It pulled great, it ran nice and straight, tires looked nice in line in my rearview mirrors. Yeah, that's about it guys. So next we'll get into the body construction. I'll start working on the walls, laying out the windows, the doors, and yeah, we'll get into that next. So if you made it to this far in the video, I really appreciate you checking out the build so far. Feel free to comment, subscribe, and got more content coming soon. So thanks for watching guys.